Well, hello everybody and welcome to the XD Challenge. I'm your host Jesse Showalter, and we got people jumping in the chat already. We got Cody Bear moderating today, Laura Staniva, Katarina's in the house. Let me know where you're coming from in the world and give me an emoji that represents your favorite Wednesday drink. Maybe it's a coffee, maybe it's a tea, maybe it's a water because you're super hydrated and healthy. Well, as long as you're hydrated, healthy, and happy, welcome to the XD Challenge. What is the XD Challenge? Well, it's a couple of challenges this week to help you just kind of firm up and build those XD skills as well as UI skills, UX skills. We got a couple of fun challenges. Head over to behance.net/challenge/XD, hit the blue button, get all of the steps and the fixins, and download your starting file so we can begin. And when you're done with your starting file, when you're done with your design today, polish it up a little bit, spend a little bit of time, go post it in the XD Discord server so you can get a little bit of feedback. We're going to be looking at those at the end of the week. And with that being said, let's take a look at the challenge for today. We're going to be building kind of an interactive activity finder for your local area. So imagine a mobile application that I want to open up and say, what's around me that's fun to do on this beautiful, almost summer's almost gone kind of time, day, or weekend. We want to build something like that. So we're going to be doing some interactive maps, some location points, a fun little experience. We got some examples down there for you. And some inspiration. We got a starting file, an artboard. It's a standard mobile artboard of 428 by 926, kind of a big artboard. That's okay. We used our Adobe colors, one of my favorite plugins, to bring in a really fun color palette. And I got a couple of maps, some icons. I've already put some typography in a couple pieces here, and I've already actually built out a little bit of my document assets. You can see I just grabbed those colors, a little bit of text. I renamed them simply by double clicking. That's a nice thing to do. It's a nice little touch. And I've made a component out of our buttons so that if I want to, I can drag more of those buttons and instances of that component onto the screen. I do have these little maps over here. One of them is provided for you. Just pulled that offline somewhere. But I thought to myself, hey, how could we get some funner maps, some more interesting maps? And I went ahead and opened up my plugins, and I found a great little plugin called Fancy Maps. Once you sign up for a free account, go into that account online and then plug in your secret key, your API token. You'll be able to find fun maps like this as well. You can just grab a surprise destination and check how fun this is. Once you find that surprise destination, all we have to do is draw a nice big rectangle for our map, however big you want it, and then you just choose, hey, you know, how zoomed in do we want it? Maybe closer to the street level, maybe a little bit more out, you know, to the state level or region. So let's zoom into the street, and then let's pick like a style for our map. Maybe it's more of a neutralized, maybe it's kind of like, looks a little bit more like a architectural blueprint, whatever. I picked this neutral one, and then I just applied the map, and boom, we popped a nice big map right here. So really fun thing to do. I encourage you to make a map that is bigger than your artboard, because we are actually going to be kind of scanning around a little bit today. So why don't we do that again? I'm going to get real close into that street, and we're somewhere in the Ukraine. Let's just try it just for fun. Another surprise location like Barcelona. Get into that street view and apply the map again. And you know, if you don't like the one that's applied there, you can kind of just zoom out a little bit and try it again and see what you like. Okay, so get yourself a nice big map, and then we'll be able to get started with our artboard for the day. Somebody said, another full and wonderful day of learning in Adobe land. That's right, lots of great content. I was actually just tuning into that streaming channel, or the last stream all about video editing and using frame.io. That was really, really cool, because I do some video editing and I liked his workflow. It was really, really fun, really interesting. All right. So let's do this. Let's bring in our map, because that's going to be kind of the basis of everything we do. So I'm going to bring in the map. I'm going to kind of center it here. Center. Boom. And yesterday we did some scroll groups. Today we're going to do not a horizontal, not a vertical, but a horizontal and vertical scroll group. That's right. As soon as we did that, look, it put our little handles and it clipped our map. And you can see the little handles we're talking about here. Clip that map perfectly to the artboard, which is really nice. I'm going to hit Command Shift left bracket to drop it all the way to the back of my layer stack, the bottom of my layer stack my map is at now. Now what's great about this is right away you can see I have a little bit of interactivity. I have some drag and drop action going on. I kind of like it. It's pretty fun. Okay, so yeah, somebody said they really liked that last that last one as well. Yeah, no, really, really cool. Okay, so that last stream is what I was talking about. Okay, so what we want to do is we need a little bit of contrast though, probably. So let's just do this really quickly. And keep this in mind, when we create our scroll group, it's going to grab everything that's inside. And it's going to create that scroll group out of it, right? So we have our scroll group here. We can group those later. So for instance, I can draw a rectangle here. I can take the border off and open up the fill and get my head out of the way and zoom in and do a little bit of a linear gradient. I'm going to go white to white, and I'm going to bring the transparency of that one of the sides there, that bottom edge. And I'm going to, with my selection tool, I'm going to drop it to the back and just bring it forward a little bit. Now that might have been wrong to do white, but I think it's going to work out okay. But what I meant was we can take our rectangle here, and you can see what I mean here. We have a little bit of a nice gradient going on, like on top of it. We can grab that whole thing together and group it together, and still my map, my actual scroll group is still going to function. Isn't that nice? Didn't Adobe do a good job on that? We like it. We're very thankful. All right. Next thing we want to do is let's take this typography and just move it out, and let's draw a card. I'm going to take R for rectangle here, and I'm going to draw a nice little card right in the middle, and I'm going to take the border off, and I'm going to center the whole thing. I'm going to round the corners. I like to work off the 8-pixel grid, so we're going to do something that's divisible by 8, like 24. Somebody check my math. It's divisible by 8. We hope so. And I'm going to drop it down, and I kind of like the idea of doing a button that kind of hangs over the side, like the edge of my card. That could be kind of fun. And what am I going to do? I'm going to need to put an image. I want like a full image or a full bleed image here inside of my card. So to do that, I'm going to open up plugins, and I actually really like this Photo Splash plugin right here. So we're going to grab that, and all we have to do is just kind of search by keyword here, which is fun. We could do something like food. So we type in food, and we get all sorts of fun food options here. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Let's talk about this French toast. It is not breakfast time for me, but French toast looks good. So all you have to do is select it and then just apply that photo like that. Boop, and it just goes ahead and does that. Now again, if you didn't see because my head was in the way, we select the photo, we get that selected button, and we just pop it right in. Look how nice that is though. Okay, so I'm going to press Command Y. That just brings me back to my layers panel. It's a good little hotkey to remember. Command Y, Command Shift Y will bring you to your document assets. And then I always forget, I think it's Command Shift P. Yep, Command Shift P for your plugins. So Command Y, Command Shift Y, Command Shift P. That's how you jump around between your assets, your layers, and your plugins. It's a good little hotkey command to remember. All right, we're going to take our card. I'm going to Command C and V, or Control for those of you that are on your PC at home. And I'm going to fill this version with a linear gradient, but we're going to make this one a dark linear gradient, black to black, with that top one having an opacity of 0. We're just going to give it that little bit of opacity. Now I can take this and kind of stretch it, which is really, really nice. If I don't, for some reason, like maybe I can kind of see that very faint little line. That's actually the curve. So I'm going to hold down Option, and I'm just going to uncurve the top left and top right. Right, so it's just everything stays nice and perfect in there. Beautiful. We have a little bit of some contrast we're going to create. So let's grab our text and bring it back in, and let's make this text white. Okay, make it just kind of pop a little bit. I'll bring it a little further up. What's the name of this? We'll call this Frenchies. Frenchies. That's franchise. Okay, let's do Frenchies. Frenchies. There we go. Oh, Frenches. Okay, let's call it French. Okay. Breakfast. Ooh, and cocktails. That could be cool. Breakfast and cocktails. Now, let's create a little bit of contrast between our pieces of text here. And we can do that with size and also just a little bit of transparency, right? So that really Frenches is the thing that pops out. And that is what we want. Let's bring this all the way to the top, or close to the top, so we get a little bit more. And why don't we do something like this? We'll just put this right here, and then this will be kind of fun. We'll take our avatar and we'll reuse our avatar and bring it down here by the book button. Oh, super fun. This is going to be our friends that are currently like in this place, right? This could be fun. So I'm going to take the border off of it. Let's add a little bit more of a fun border. I'm going to Command C, Command V, right? I'll take the ellipse in the back. and we'll put a border on it. We'll take the fill out of it. Let's pick a fun color, like for instance, how about our brand purple that's already in there? And then let's just bring it out a little bit. Oh, we're gonna get this fun, nice little border here. And we don't mind it being just a little bit chunky, maybe not that chunky, but a little bit. There we go. Let's make it the size of 1.5. And I'll get my head out of the way so you can see all the things that I'm doing. Now, what we might also want to do is bring the border back on here, okay? And let's just make it a black border, a little hack for you that you'll see right now, okay? And we'll put this border on the outside, and we will, oh, this is on the inside, pardon me. Let's do it on the outside. And let's just fill like that so we can see. Perfect. Okay, so we have our avatar here, and we have our other layer behind it. Let's just bring that one on top, and then we just kind of group them together, and we call this avatar. Now the reason we do that is because now we can lap this over, and we don't see through, we don't bleed through this little black line here. We don't have to worry about that, right? It actually just pops off the way that we want it to. Why don't we zoom out and really quickly find those other colors here? Let's do a yellow one there. Love it. And why don't we just really quickly we'll do one more, right? And you know what we could have done here? This would have been a perfect example of a repeat grid action where we just take those three and just do a little negative margin. Oh, so sweet. And then we could come in and we could make some updates here. So we could take this Command-Shift-Y over here and apply this to our border color. Oh, it applies it to all of it. That's okay. I tell you what, let's break the grid. Now that we've set it up, we'll ungroup the grid just like so. And now we'll be able to come in and grab we hope at least, we hope we could grab it. Here it is, our avatar. Do that. We'll go back, and now we'll right click, apply to the border color. That looks beautiful. Do the same thing with our green, apply to the border color. And we obviously need some different images. We can't have the same friend over and over, right? So let's go keyword avatar. Do we get what we're looking for? We do. We have 2 photos selected, so it automatically selects it for us, and we just pop them in there just like that. Okay, and let's put a little title there so we know what that is. It says approved by how many friends? 5+ friends, and that is a pretty big title, so we need to bring that down so it's a really small little kind of subheadline. 9 is very, very small in like typography for mobile. Be very careful doing something that small, but it does kind of work a little bit for us. So I'm just gonna space this out a little bit, maybe. And you know what's great is when we created this component, I haven't even covered this, but when we created this component, we actually, I'll just do this. Let's edit the main component. Right click, it throws a main component out there on the edge. We actually did this using not stacks, but padding. So we could add maybe just a little bit of padding to the left and right of it. That's the top. Let's go back down to 16. Sorry, let's do 48 and 48. We have distinct padding like on all of those, and then when we delete it, it's not like it deletes the actual component, it just hides it, it just tucks it away. We can always bring it back out later. That's a little bit nicer if you ask me. Okay, we got this nice card, and I'm gonna bring the top of it. I don't need it to be so tall. I'm gonna grab all these items, 1, 2, 3, all the avatars and the button, group it together, and you know what? It's okay for us to have components inside components. We call those nested components, and that's what we're about to do. We're gonna grab the avatars and the button and all that stuff and nest the whole thing together and call it our card. Beautiful. Okay, now we've made our element right there. Really, really love it. All we have to do is just a few more little pieces. Let's get rid of this guy. We don't need this color palette on top anymore. Let's do something like some text up here. I'm gonna hit T for text, and I'm gonna enter some text inside, like let's put food, like we're currently looking for food. It's a little bit hidden. There we go. And we have some body styles up here. We had some headline styles. Let's stick with our body. And we'll pop that right in there. And we might need a little bit of like a chevron or arrow. So let's do, I'm going to open up my font selection tool. That I use one called Nucleo, and we'll just grab ourselves a little chevron. I could have just drawn that with a pen tool really quickly, but why draw it when you could just grab it? It's really, really nice. All right, push this over here. Somebody said overhang. Ooh, I like the overhang button. Thank you very much, Cody Bear. I appreciate that. It's just fun to play with, like some asymmetrical things, some things you might not necessarily always do. It's kind of fun. I'm a little sick today, so I apologize for wiping my nose on the stream. That was rude of me, but I had to do it. We're going to press Command G and group that whole thing together. And really, this chevron should probably be right next to our word, right? Something like that. It's a little small in comparison to the text, but that's okay. I don't mind that at all. And if we wanted to, we could put an accent color on that bad boy. So we could play a little bit with our purple. We're starting to introduce a little bit of purple. That's very, very nice. Let's do a quick thing here. We will put, I'm going to get rid of our heart. We don't need that. And I think that's kind of lame right there. And maybe, just maybe, let's get into our map and get just a better section of the map. Like, ooh, I like being near the water. That's kind of fun. Love that. I press escape to get out of it. And let's say our destination is here. It's this nice Frenchie's restaurant right there on the corner, and we are here. So let's just drag our little navigation arrow right there. Beautiful. I love it. I love it a lot. And we will actually highlight that with our color. But this is our destination. I think it'd be fun to make it kind of pop a little bit more. So why don't we hit E for ellipse? We'll create a little circle right there. And we will drop it behind. I like that. Take the border off. And why don't we bring the opacity of this down just a little bit, like so. Beautiful. And then we could do the same thing. Command C, Command V. See, I do Command C, Command V an awful lot, don't I? I really do. So, but we'll take this second one and make sure that I have the outline here. Woo, where are you? Where are you? Let's get just our stroked side there. Beautiful. Something like that. Or maybe we might want to put it internal. Ooh. Ooh, yeah, I think that looks a little bit nicer. We'll bring that whole thing together. Bingo. And if you really wanted to stand out a little bit on this neutral kind of background, we'll do a little bit of a drop shadow there. Not a massive one, but a little one. We didn't even do a drop shadow on our card, and I think we probably should have. I really do think we should have. And you know what? As I'm looking at our fill here, I'm thinking we need to kind of bring just a little bit more contrast to our text, so it's a little bit more dark at the bottom. You know, a lot of times you can just grab a card and put a drop shadow on it. You just hit drop shadow. I'm thinking about a custom drop shadow, and that's not a wrong thing to do. Sometimes you just need to hit E for ellipse and draw a little ellipse action going on here. Raise your hand out there if you like to just use the stock drop shadows that are there, or if you like to create your own like I'm doing right now. I'm actually going to grab this purple. I'm going to darken the whole thing like so. And instead of a background blur, I'm going to turn on object blur, and I'll be able to control the amount of blur that's coming off that bad boy. And we'll just tuck it up there. So yeah, do you like to do custom drop shadows like I just did? Or would you prefer to do just like the stock ones by turning on drop shadow? Let me know. We are going to, I think we should probably highlight this, yeah, with our color, with our accent color. That's pretty nice. And then let's draw a nice path with our pen tool. We're going to start where we're currently located. We're going to go down this really sketchy alley for some reason, because Siri always messes me up. It's going to take me the long way. It always does. Anybody else, or is it just me? I'm going to take this color and apply it to my border color, and I'm just going to pump it up a little bit. And you know what? Similar to the trick we did yesterday, I'm going to go to object, I'm going to go to path, I'm going to outline the stroke so that we can have, right? Oh, now we're talking. So now we can actually, maybe we'll come in here and do like our green. Ooh, yes, yes, yes. Let's try that one more time. I'm going to hit here, and we'll go. Oh, it's kind of fun. It's kind of working all right. Let's. What happens if we go from like green? Ooh, that's ugly. I don't like that. So let's stick with our dark color. Let's just flip flop it though, so that dark colors on one side not the other, shall we? Okay, let's just backtrack. We're messing up our gradient right now. We need to go the other way. We need light on this side, dark on this side. Yes, that's better. And then what we need to do is just take our layer and tuck it behind all of our assets here, like so. You can always come back in once you've drawn, like with the pen tool, and you can rework the node, like, and all the points on it, to get exactly what you want. All right, that kind of works for us. Okay, we got our pathway working. And with this being done, you know, if we wanted to, we could take our card and we could duplicate our card like this, and we could have like a little gallery of them. Could be pretty cool. Just a little bit of overlap for those cards and group them together. I'm going to X those out, and I'm going to bring the new one back in here. Okay, we won't fill it in. You get the point of what we're trying to do there, but put our card right there. And then when we select the card, we might have time today to do a super duper fast, well, let's look at it right now. Let's just prototype it and see right now. We have a little bit of movement happening here, and something is broken. Our GPS line is not showing up for some reason. So let's look and see why that might be. First off, I think this needs a little bit of a border. So we'll drop a white border on it, and we'll put it on the outside. And we'll just pump that white border around it so it kind of stands out. Let's press play one more time. Interesting that we're not getting our white or our actual pathway and all that fun stuff. So let's grab our pathway here. And we have our... Whoa, what did I do? Man, I'm having a day, I tell you. Let's grab our pathway again. Grab our icons like so. We're going to bring those all up to the top and group it together like that. There we go. Now we should have something. There we go. Now we do want it to probably move, right, with our map behind. So we're going to label this path in our layers panel, drag this below, and we're going to label that folder called, or that layer called map. Now when we press play, that should actually, oh, I thought it would. Oh, I super duper thought it would. That's okay. But let's say we've selected that. Let's just duplicate our artboard really quickly, and we should have time. It's possible that we'll have time to just do a little bit more work here. Let's get rid of all of these areas, and we can actually get rid of our map too, I think. Let's get rid of our map, and let's take our image, our Frenchie's image, and we'll get rid of our secondary navigation, this little fella right here. And we probably would need an arrow that goes back. That's okay. We'll just go full immersive though. So I'm going to immerse to the left and right hand edges all the way up to the top like so. And this is fun. I always like doing these. Let's do a little bottom, a little bit of a bottom curve on those borders. Like that quite a bit. And I tell you, it's not a white application, it is a neutral background application. So let's grab one of our neutral colors from our map, just kind of like bring the whole thing together. Somebody says they love that accent color, that purple. Right on, I love it. Somebody else said it made them a little bit of little homesick to see this application. Oh no, I hope that you miss home in a good way. That's what we hope for, but not so much so that you're like sad. We don't want you to be sad. So I'm going to take this away here, and I tell you what, we'll just grab, what I love is once you've started doing some good UI design, you might have created some elements you could just reuse. So for us, we might actually just reuse our avatars over here, group those together and bring them up into our design. Let's just space this out a little bit and bring the rounded edges all the way. Maybe we can bring our avatars in here. And we're going to have to close the distance on these. So let's just tighten these up a little bit. I like that. We have to put our avatars in there. Just space this a little bit more. Cool. Okay, we can do that. And then we can put like a rating by like most of like maybe our friends or whoever. So come in here and we will paste that. And we'll just do something like a 4.8 is the rating that people are giving this Frenchie's restaurant. And it's a bit big, so I love that we have the handle at the bottom of it in Adobe XD. All right, so we'll put our rating right in there, and I think we had a heart somewhere. Maybe we want to heart this. Why don't we open up our colors, and let's look for a fun color. We'll do our accent purple there just to keep everything kind of consistent, and then we can put some text below. So why don't we just re-grab this text. I'm going to pop this in here, and I'm going to change the color, and look at this. We're building a little bit of a detail screen that quickly, right? French's breakfast and cocktails. Bring the opacity down on that a little bit more. Just have a little bit of stuff there. And then, who knows, we might just do a little L for a line or a separator. That'll be probably pretty decent. Let's look for a plugin. We should have a plugin that can grab us a little bit of lorem ipsum. So why don't we do a little bit of lorem ipsum here with placeholder text? Let's do it. Oh, I gotta grab, haha, duh. I gotta grab this little fella, and I'm gonna make it a text area, which means I can size the text area here. Let's do it again like that. Yes, let's do some lorem ipsum inside. Beautiful. And I love that I just double clicked on the little bottom node there, and that gave us enough just to do our last thing, which will be a button, and we are done. We just did a little button here, and we could stretch it out. We just detach this from the component and make this wide all the way across, and we created our 2. Last thing we would do is just in prototype, we would prototype from this card to that card and an X arrow to go back or an arrow, and then we would have it, and that's it. We have our first piece there with our map that's interactive. We got to fix that guy, and then we have our detail screen, and that is it for the day. I hope you enjoyed the challenge. These things whiz by. I have so much fun designing with you guys, and so hopefully we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, here on the Adobe XD Challenge. I'm your host, Jesse Showalter. I'll see you tomorrow.